Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a Q&A video answering some questions about stock photography that I get in the comments. And these are questions that are maybe not worth an entire video on their own, but are definitely worth answering. So there's a lot of questions. I just selected a few that, were appearing multiple times. Let's see how many we can get through. Question number 1. Could you share what is the size of your portfolio and how often you upload? Well, it's no secret that the largest stock photography portfolio that I have is on Shutterstock. Right now I have just over 5,000 photos on Shutterstock and like 450 video clips or something like that. I upload pretty often. Right now I'm focusing a little bit more on, increasing the size of my video portfolio, but the amount of photos that I add to my portfolio every month varies from 100 to a couple hundred. It just depends how much I am shooting that month, but I definitely space out my uploads so that I do have new photos coming in pretty much all the time. Second question, do you investigate search results before shooting? Sometimes. Here's the thing, stock photography for me is not a full-time job. A lot of times I'm hired to shoot something or I'm already shooting something, and then when I'm done with that shoot, I'll take a few additional photos for stock photography. So in that case, I'm already at a certain location doing a certain type of photos already, and I'll add a few stock photos at the end, but I'm not, researching that shoot beforehand because again, that shoot was for a third party. But there are a few times that I have gone out and taken photos that I have researched beforehand. And one good example of that was the Pride Parade in Washington, D.C. I have a video about that, which I'll link below. And basically before going to the Pride Parade, I researched how many photos there were of the Pride Parade in Washington, D.C. And when I was researching that, I realized there were not that many photos of the parade, the DC version of the parade. So I knew that would be a good thing for me to upload. Next question, who prices the photos? Shutterstock prices the photos. If you are using Shutterstock, you have no control over the pricing of your photos. Different stock photos have different ways of doing this. On Pond 5, for example, you can set your prices, but these things definitely just vary based on the platform. The next one is actually a comment, but I thought it was, pretty funny and worth addressing. This was in response to my video about some of my weirdest photo downloads. For those of you who have watched that, you know that one of my weirdest photo downloads was actually a photo that I took of dryer sheets in a laundry room. That photo was being downloaded a lot before I made the video. And here's a comment underneath that video. Wow, are you serious, girl? I'll just go back in my laundry room and take some big pictures of our big gallons of Clorox bleach and laundry soap. So this is pretty funny actually, because after I put out that video, which is one of my most popular videos, the amount of people taking photos of dryer sheets in their laundry rooms skyrocketed. There's several pages of dryer sheets in laundry rooms now, which obviously were uploaded right after I made that video. So as of making that video, my dryer sheets photo does not really get downloaded anymore. I mean, it makes sense. Now there's competition in that. But it's okay. I don't mind sharing my stories because there are plenty of other places where I can, get photo downloads on Shutterstock. That was just one example. But I can't help but laugh when I type in dryer sheets laundry room and literally see how many people have uploaded that type of photo after seeing my video. Or at least I assume they saw my video and did that based on the sheer quantity of dryer sheets photos now. Next question. I'm wondering if there is any way to find out where my photo is being used. Yeah, actually there's a couple of different ways you can do this. One is you can do a reverse Google image search, which means you basically drag your image into the Google search and then Google will find similar images and most likely pull up your images if they have been used on the internet somewhere. And the other way you can do this is if those are editorial photos, then whoever is using your photos should be crediting you, so you can actually just, Google yourself. Sometimes I'll just type in Nicole S. Glass Shutterstock and I'll find, places that are using my photos. Next question. Do you need the FAA drone license for drone photo sales? If you live in the United States, you would need to have an FAA drone pilot license in order to make money off of your drone photos. Different countries have different laws, so definitely check the laws in the country that you live in. Shutterstock is not going to ask you for your drone license, but that's why you need to just check what the law is in your country, because Shutterstock is a worldwide platform. Which makes more money, stock footage or monetized YouTube videos? At this point in time, stock photos and videos still make more money for me than my monetized YouTube videos. However, I hope that this will change in the future, and you could help me with that by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to this channel so you don't miss any new videos. Next question. Is it better to use your real name or a business or profile name when selling stock photography? Personally, I use my real name. I mean, I don't really see why you wouldn't use your real name. If you're proud of your photos and videos, I mean, you would want them to be associated with you as a person. But of course, if you have a media company, then it would make sense to upload photos under the name of that company, but it really is up to you. It doesn't affect anything except for, how those photos are going to be shown. If you're uploading editorial photos and somebody is crediting you, do you want your name to be in those credits or do you want a business name in those credits? Really up to you. Next question. This one cracks me up. This is more like a negative comment, but I wanted to include it anyway. I feel this post is totally fake. Shutterstock never accepted photos with logos or trademarks. Stop posting videos just to make numbers and views. Well, I hope that by now many of you know that yes, Shutterstock does indeed accept photos with logos and trademarks. You just have to upload those photos as editorial images, or of course just have release forms signed, but that's not always easy to do. So if you're not able to do that, you can upload those photos as editorial images. I have this video that I made which explains that process. I will link to that below as well. But no, this is not fake. And this actually makes me think of another comment that I often get, which is, do you work for Shutterstock? Because I've made so many videos about Shutterstock. No, I don't work for Shutterstock. I don't even have a contact at Shutterstock, honestly. I don't even know a single person at the company. I just like making videos where I talk about things that I do in my photography life, and that is one of the things that I do, and one of the things I just enjoy talking about. And why don't I talk about other stock platforms as much? Well, it's just because I have a lot smaller portfolios on the other platforms, but I am building those up, so eventually I will start talking about the other ones as well. Next question. What about model releases for the Germans in the parade? I have so many rejections from Adobe because of crowds and so on. Same with the soda bottles. This was actually in response to a video where I showed a couple of my travel photos that sell, and one of them was this photo, which, as you can see, shows a lot of people in there, and no, I did not get model release forms from them. This, again, was an editorial image. And in response to this particular comment, you're probably getting rejections from Adobe because Adobe does not accept editorial content, whereas Shutterstock does. So if you specialize in editorial content like I do, then Shutterstock is probably a better platform for you than Adobe. But if you're a commercial photographer, I mean, you can pretty much put those photos anywhere. Next one, and this is a comment that I just wanted to address. So basically, if you upload some random, not very popular thing, they will sell more. No, not exactly. Yes, I have mentioned random photo sales, and that's why I said these are outliers. These surprised even me because they are so random. But basically, in making videos where I show these kind of random sales that I'm having, I'm basically showing that it's not the cliche stock photos that are making me money all the time. Sometimes it's the lesser expected stock photos that actually bring in a little bit more income. So you just have to, expand your mind and open your perspective to shooting photos that are different from the norm. And a super random, terrible quality photo with no relevance is not gonna do well just because it's random. You still want to make sure that your photos have, a certain level of quality to them and a certain level of relevancy. Like, you have to ask yourself, can you imagine somebody having some sort of use for this photo? And if the answer is yes, then it may be a good stock photo. But not every photo sells just because it's random. Next question. I'd like to know how to break onto that first page. Is it just sales, or is there some algorithm at work behind the scenes? Well, of course, all stock platforms have their own algorithms, and we as contributors are not going to know how those algorithms work. That's something that you would probably only know if you're like some sort of insider at those stock companies. But there are a few things that you can do that might help you get onto the first page, and that is taking photos in topics that are not super saturated on Shutterstock, because if there's only 3 pages of search results, then it's a lot easier for you to get onto that first page than if you're uploading a photo where there's, 300 pages of search results. So that's pretty obvious. And yeah, it does appear that if photos get downloaded a lot, they slowly creep up in the search results. This is not scientific evidence or anything because I don't know how the algorithms work, but from my experience, I can see that the more my photos get downloaded, the higher they usually show up in the search results. But yeah, the best thing that you can do is, photograph lesser photographed subjects, and also make sure to use as many good keywords as you possibly can so that your photos have a higher chance of being discovered. I think one of the big reasons why some stock photographers don't make as much as they could is because they're not optimizing their photos well enough. They're not using the best keywords that they possibly can, because that is really, really going to help in having your photos discovered. Next question. What type of illustrations and vectors sell most? Well, I get this question all the time, but honestly, I can't really help you with that one because I don't do illustrations or vectors. So, I don't want to talk about things that I'd have no personal experience with. I talk about things that I do myself. But I would guess that you could apply, a lot of the same things that you would apply to your photography, which is, create illustrations and vectors in lesser saturated topics where they have a higher chance of being discovered. But again, that's not my niche, so I can't say too much about that. Next question. Will you please make a video on how to do photo post-processing for stock sites? I guess I could make a video about that, but just to answer this briefly right now, I don't do serious editing on my stock photos because a lot of times people are looking for natural looking photos, or maybe they want to do some edits on the photos themselves. So before I upload them to Shutterstock, I do edit the photos, but it's not overly edited. I might make the skies a little bluer, make the colors a little bit more vibrant, bring up the clarity just a little bit, like basic things that you would do to just make your photos stand out, but without making them, super unrealistic looking. Next question. Is there any significant difference in price between commercial and editorial photos? I've answered this question before in a previous video, and the answer is a little bit tricky, but here goes. So basically, a Shutterstock customer has different options for purchasing photos. They can buy a subscription package, which would allow them to have, several hundred photos per month, or they can buy photos on demand. They can buy extended licenses if they want. So basically, if a Shutterstock customer who has, a huge subscription package just downloads photos from that regular subscription package, that's when you're usually going to see earnings that are somewhere like 25 cents or 36 cents or 38 cents, depending on what tier you're in. And in those cases, it doesn't matter if it's a commercial image or an editorial image, you're still getting the same, 25 cents or 36 cents, whatever tier you're in. But with commercial images, the buyer has the option to buy an extended license. Let's say, for example, that somebody wants to buy one of your photos and, print them on, blankets and sell them in stores across the US and, sell them to millions of people or something like that. Then that person would have to buy an extended license, and that can only be done with a commercial image. So you do have the potential to earn more if you upload commercial images, but for the everyday Shutterstock client who is just downloading photos, for their newspaper or blog or something, they usually do not need these kinds of licenses. So for me personally, I make more money with my editorial photos just because I have such large quantities of downloads for my editorial photos. But I do get the occasional high value sale from a commercial image, but it's just not as frequent. And therefore my editorial photos do tend to earn me more money than my commercial images. But again, this is different for everybody. Some people have an entire portfolio with just commercial images, and they do really well with that. So I would just say, shoot what you prefer to shoot what you're good at shooting. You can make money with both commercial and editorial photos. There is a market for both of them. So do you have any other, Shutterstock or stock photography questions that I didn't answer in this video? Leave them in the comments below. And also keep in mind that I have almost 30 videos about Shutterstock already, so maybe your answers are in those videos. I'll link to my playlist below so you can see, what else I have created already. I hope you enjoyed this spontaneous Q&A. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here. I post weekly videos on photography, stock photography, making money with photography, and all that fun stuff that is related to, creating art with your cameras. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.